Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. It has been a couple of weeks since our last Team Kentucky Update, but that doesn't mean momentum on the economic development front has slowed down in the slightest. Since the beginning of my administration, we've now announced more than 1,000 private sector new location and expansion projects, creating more than 51,800 new jobs, along with a record 30 billion in new investments for that period of time, by far a record. We have a lot of good news today. Let's start with first, earlier this week, we furthered Kentucky's position as a national leader in the automotive and electric vehicle sectors as Toyota announced plans to increase its most recent investment to $1.3 billion at its flagship facility, its largest facility worldwide, the one in Georgetown. They're adding more than $700 million to the company's 2023 announcement and are increasing their job retention commitment by 700 additional full-time employees. The project will establish the company's first U.S. assembled battery electric vehicle in Scott County. So thank you to Toyota's leadership for yet another $1 billion plus investment coming to Kentucky. Just last week, 5 private sector new location and expansion projects were approved by the state, totaling $359 million in proposed investments and 467 new full-time jobs. This included announcements from Bellmark Inc. and PC3 Health, as well as the first site development project approved in round 2 of our Kentucky Product Development Initiative. So first, Bellmark Inc. manufactures printed pressure-sensitive labels, flexible packaging, and folding cartons. They announced plans to locate a new operation in Allen County with a nearly $99 million investment, but also creating 159 new full-time jobs in that community. This operation will be the company's first facility in the Commonwealth and is going to pay $37 an hour, including benefits on average. So thank you to this company for a very large jobs announcement for Allen County. We also announced Physician Care Coordination Consultants, also known as PC3 Health, will grow its Jefferson County operations. This is a $2.5 million investment to relocate within the county. They're going to add 21 new full-time jobs, paying an average wage of $108 per hour, including benefits. New jobs created include physician advisors and data analysts, and the move is expected to be completed by June 2024. I also want to highlight the first site to receive approval during the second round of our KPDI program. Nearly $2 million was approved to support site development in Campbell County, with the full project scope, including local support, totaling about $4 million. Round 1 of the program concluded in December with 53 projects approved for $31.2 million in state funding. Including local contributions, these projects grow the total investment to $123 million in those 53 projects. So I'm excited to see round 2 continue these efforts. Over the last couple of weeks, I've also had the opportunity to join local officials and company leaders from several communities to celebrate milestones across the Commonwealth. If we think back to 2021 and 2022 blockbuster years with giant announcements, we are now cutting the ribbons, meaning the reality is here, the jobs are here, the true opportunity, this great new economy that we've been building is truly happening in Kentucky. So on July 25th, I joined Tyson Foods for the grand opening of the company's new state-of-the-art bacon production facility in Bowling Green's Kentucky Trans Park. The $355 million project will create nearly 450 full-time jobs, most of which are already filled, and it's among the largest investment and job creation projects ever announced in Warren County. I think it's actually the second largest ever. Tyson Foods has partnered with Western Kentucky University and South Central Kentucky Community and Technical College to establish training programs and will equip the workforce with skills needed in modern food preparation. I want to thank Tyson Foods for its leadership and for their continued belief in this great state. They have a number of other operations, and this is just continued proof that companies see Kentucky as a great place to work, and when they have the opportunity to expand, they choose us. Just a day after Tyson, I joined Bakery Express Midwest, a commercial bakery manufacturing company, to break ground on its new Boone County location, which includes more than a $20 million investment. And while it says 175 full time jobs here on site, they announced it was going to be more like 225. This is a Northern Kentucky location that came about because their partner is Wawa, which is a brand that is about to locate all across Kentucky, and they serve primarily Wawa, but other companies with these baked goods delivered daily. So I'm thrilled to welcome Bakery Express Midwest to Northern Kentucky. It was neat to meet this leadership. They believe in us, and we think this project will continue to grow. And just last week, I joined North American Stainless, a really important company in Kentucky, to celebrate the 1 year mark since they announced a $244 million expansion, the 13th expansion in Carroll County since they located, a project that's creating almost 70 full time jobs. We got to walk past the newest line that is stainless steel, which is what they do, all of which is going to GE Appliance Park for their line of products. So here we have this Kentucky company making this important stainless steel for another Kentucky company. New jobs supporting new jobs. North American Stainless is the largest producer of stainless steel in the United States. They love this state. They're committed to it. We're really grateful. And it's one of those companies where we can talk about them to other potential manufacturers. And they are a great magnet to bring more interest here to Kentucky. Now we have some announcements this morning, some new ones that I want to highlight. We just announced that the Build Ready program is adding a site in Jackson County that was approved through the Kentucky Product Development Initiative in 2023. The property was formerly home to the Mid-South Electronics facility that was lost in a fire in 2005, designating it as a brownfield site. This new site is yet another important step towards bringing even more quality jobs to Kentuckians. So this is investment. This is a new site that, especially with these steps, Jackson is going to be able to market across the Commonwealth, the country, and the globe. Also, on the site and building development front, we announced Knox County will receive approval for a $250,000 grant to conduct due diligence as community leaders explore options to establish a new industrial park. This comes at a time when the Southern Kentucky Business Park is nearing full capacity. I want to congratulate the leaders in Knox County on this grant and on looking towards the future and knowing we have to keep investing and keep moving if we want to keep growing. And to close out today's economic development news, we have nearly $500,000 grant awarded to 4 Kentucky companies. So these are nearly $500,000 in 4 separate grants to support high-tech growth. I want to congratulate Black Box Energy Systems in Owingsville, Covert Defenses, Lipidex, and Ralph VR doing business as VR Together. Those last 3 all in Lexington. These 4 Kentucky-based businesses were awarded matching funds, and they're using technology to advance multiple fields from Alzheimer's disease care to biopesticides to motor technology. Kentucky is home to a great ecosystem of startup companies, so it's important to bring in these new big companies, to expand those that are here, but also to foster an environment where a Kentuckian can start with a great idea, build out that idea in Kentucky to the next great company, because all these great companies here and around the globe started with someone's idea. We want more of them to start right here. Now I'd like to invite the First Lady to join me to go over some important reminders about donating blood and supporting our local domestic violence shelters this weekend.
Good afternoon. I'm joining Andy today to tell you about 2 causes close to my heart, ways that we can come together to make a big difference this week. First, I want to remind everyone that last month, the Red Cross declared a national emergency blood shortage. Unfortunately, the number of U.S. blood donors has reached a 20-year low. Blood is not only needed during surgeries, but for critical plasma and platelet therapies. we also never know when a disaster may strike. That's why Andy and I are inviting all state employees, as well as the Frankfurt community, to join us this Monday, February 12th, to donate blood and help save lives. It's easy. All you need to do is go visit governor.ky.gov/give blood, and you'll see the links where you can sign up now. You'll have options. You can sign up to donate with us on Monday on the Capitol campus, or if that day doesn't work, you can sign up for any of the blood drives that are scheduled in Frankfurt for February and March. If you don't live in if you don't live in Frankfurt, you can still participate. Our site also includes a link where anyone in the United States can sign up for a blood drive in their community. I'm so excited to see how Team Kentucky steps up to make this blood drive a success. I hope it inspires our friends and neighbors across the country to do the same. As First Lady and as a mom of two great kids, my number one goal is to keep all our families safe and healthy. That's why blood donations are so important to me, and it's also why I'm passionate about supporting survivors of domestic violence. That brings me to the second way you can make an impact this week. This Saturday, February 10th, I hope you join me at the 15th annual Shop and Share donation drive. It's simple, and it's all in the name. While you're out shopping, as you get ready for Super Bowl parties on Sunday, get what you need and then pick up a few extra items to share with your local domestic violence shelter. Volunteers will be on site to help, and they'll have lists of what supplies are needed most. This year, you have more options than ever. Many Kroger and Food City locations are participating, as well as other local grocery stores. And for the first time, some Starbucks stores are participating as well. I want to thank each of these partners for making this event possible. At most locations, Kentuckians can donate from 9 to 5 p.m. local time. Together, we have a chance to help survivors going through some of the most difficult times of their lives. These are our neighbors, men, women, and children who have found the courage to ask for help. People who may be starting over, who likely couldn't bring much, if anything, with them when they come to these local shelters. That's why Shop and Share is really important. Nothing can replace personal belongings, but each of us can provide at least one thing that they need, one thing that will help them start rebuilding their lives and their future. Organizations like Zero V and each of our regional domestic violence shelters are there for these Kentuckians as they begin to heal and move forward. I'm proud of Andy's mom and former First Lady Jane Beshear for her role in starting this program, which has grown and flourished over these last several years. Let's make sure this is the most successful year. I know Team Kentucky can do it. Thank you all again. And now I'm honored to introduce the CEO of Zero V, Angela Yanelli.
Thank you, First Lady Beshear. My name is Angela Yanelli, and I am the CEO of Zero V, which stands for Zero Violence. And it's an honor to be a part of today's Team Kentucky update. I'm going to say some things that the First Lady has already said, but it can never be said enough and a number of times about how important what we do are for the most vulnerable Kentuckians that we have. Zero V is the statewide coalition that supports the 15 designated regional domestic violence shelters that serve all 120 counties in the Commonwealth. We are grateful for the combined support of Governor Beshear, Lieutenant Governor Coleman, and the First Lady in our commitment to end intimate partner violence in our state. Our shelter programs provide survivors of intimate partner violence and their children with free, confidential, and trauma-informed services that help them on their road to healing. Some of these services include emergency shelter, crisis intervention and safety planning, legal advocacy services, support groups, child advocacy, transportation, housing assistance, and the list goes on and on. We invite all Kentuckians to join us in our annual Shop and Share event, where your donations will make a difference in the lives of vulnerable Kentuckians seeking safety and peace. In partnership with the First Lady of Kentucky and Zero V, Shop and Share is our one-day donation drive, which takes place this Saturday, February 10th, at Kroger, Food City, and other regional grocery stores across Kentucky. As you enter your local participating grocery store this Saturday, you're going to be greeted by shelter program staff as well as community volunteers. They're not going to ask you for money. They're going to ask you to go in and do what you normally do on a Saturday: shop for groceries, shop for the items that your family needs, and then be willing to share it with those in the community who need your support. So you're going to get a shopping list of the things that are the most important that the programs are saying that they need to fill up their pantries. Go shop, go share. If you want to bring a whole basket, we'll take it. And I have seen people on Saturdays that will shop and bring a whole basket full and drop it off. So we encourage everybody to be just as generous. And while your donations of snacks and shampoo, canned goods, and diapers may seem very ordinary, they are actually extraordinary impacts on the lives of survivors. Your donations will help us prepare lunches for children that are in our shelters when they go to school. They will help survivors who have had to leave all of their personal items at home when they are fleeing to our shelters. And it will also provide care packages of food for our survivors who are living in rural areas who don't have access to a lot of food services. They help fill the diaper bags of mothers who have had to become single parents for the first times in their lives, and there's so much more. So we stand with survivors and we support their courageous decision to seek help, often fleeing their homes in pursuit of lives and futures free from violence. And we know that to get this state to zero, we are going to need every single Kentuckian to stand with us. So as you head to the grocery store this Saturday to stock up on snacks and beverages for that big game, the Super Bowl, or to go see Taylor Swift, whichever is your pleasure, we ask you to take a moment and join us, a Kentucky United Against Violence, by participating in Shop and Share, and to show that survivors of domestic violence deserve your generosity and support that all Kentuckians can provide. Thank you.
Thank you to Angela and Zero V for continuing this amazing program. It's an opportunity. You're probably already going to the grocery store anyways, or some of the other locations to help people. I remember every time that I volunteered in front of one of these stores. I remember the very first year it ran, due to a last minute issue, picking up every single item at every Louisville grocery store that were participating. Those are some of the most meaningful days, hours that you can have, and everything you do will help someone in need. We are kind, generous people in Kentucky. This is a way to show it. Take the tiniest bit of your Super Bowl budget and help somebody that maybe during that big game when most people are having fun are in a very difficult moment where they need our help. We know everybody will turn out. Shop a lot and be generous. All right, it's been nearly 2 years since the devastating floods in eastern Kentucky, where we lost 45 children of God. Hundreds of families lost their home and everything in them. My commitment is the same as it was that very first morning when we could see all that damage, to be with these families until every home is restored, every life is repaired, until we have communities that will never have to go through this again. That's why we are celebrating another step today on one of our high ground communities, which actually pushes it pretty much the furthest along of anyone. Our administration is now closed on the high ground property called Skyview in Perry County. This land comes from a generous donor, the Ison family. We announced this donation about a year ago, and now everything is official. This site will be the home for 100 families that survived the flooding. 100 new homes will be in this community of Skyview. It's nearly 50 acres, and it's just 5 miles from downtown Hazard. It's close to schools, shopping centers, and the Hazard ARH Regional Medical Center. Now that we've closed on the property, as you can see in a video right here, we have construction crews mobilizing to start working on the site. Key Tech Construction Horizontal will build the half-mile long access road that will help us begin construction in earnest. State government officials are also currently reviewing water and sewer plans. Remember, we weren't able to start on this until we got NEPA approval from HUD, so we could access that $300 million. We've been waiting for this day for a long time, having to jump through a lot of hoops. And now the state has this property and work's beginning on the access road. We'll break ground real soon on the water and sewer. So it is happening. It's exciting. It's going to be a great building season as the weather gets warmer. And we're making great progress on 6 other high ground sites too. The cottages at Thompson Branch in Letcher County is a first of its kind development where local, state, and federal groups are all coming together to make housing available to flood survivors. And it looks like Thompson Branch will be the first community ready for occupancy. Things are moving quickly in Floyd County as well. At the site previously owned by the Wayland Volunteer Fire Department, infrastructure is in place and building partners are about to start framing 10 homes here as the weather improves on that site. Grandview in Letcher County will be the site of 115 homes on 92 acres. We thank the Johnson family for donating that property, and that's going to contain a playground, park space, and walking trails that could eventually connect to downtown Jenkins, which is down the mountain from it. The Chestnut Ridge High Ground community in Knott County will be built on more than 100 acres. Team Kentucky will build 167 homes there, and then the nonprofit next to it will build even more. The Transportation Cabinet has completed plans for an access road there as well. We're also working on acquiring an access road and right of way for the Olive Branch community in Knott County. We've acquired 75 acres donated by Sean and Tammy Adams, which will be the home for 132 homes. There will be senior apartments on that site, as well as a park and recreation space. We anticipate beginning building roads and bringing utilities to that site this summer. Back in Floyd County, the new Hope community will include 34 homes for flood survivors. We plan on announcing progress on that site this month, and we expect construction to begin soon. Kentucky was also allocated $298 million to help us rebuild from those floods. Our plan for those funds was just approved by the federal government. I know we signed on the dotted line, I think last Friday. We're waiting on the last signature, but that then officially opens up those dollars that we've been pushing so hard for and has prevented us from moving ahead on some of these sites. This is a lot of progress on them, but like we talked about, once the momentum picks up, once those dollars are unlocked, you're going to see a lot of movement, a lot of new homes, a lot of infrastructure work on these sites, especially this spring and this summer. Switching gears, we are making our roads safer for Kentuckians and travelers, and it's been a long-standing priority to truly address wrong way driving. I'm happy to announce progress on this project that we are pushing forward. A design build team is now on board to help the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet plan and execute innovative strategies to detect and deter wrong way drivers in Jefferson and Fayette counties, 2 counties most prone to wrong way incidents. Currently, the project team is led by Stanzel Electric and Parsons Engineering. They are working on evaluating different technologies to use during small-scale pilot projects starting this summer along 5 ramps in Fayette County. While specific technology that'll be used hasn't been finalized, we do know it'll ultimately do 4 things. 1, it will detect wrong way incidents in real time. 2, it will deter wrong way drivers by activating warnings. 3, it'll alert travelers driving in the correct direction of a detected wrong way driver and also alert first responders of the location of the detected wrong way driver. And 4th, it'll monitor safety concerns like debris, disabled vehicles, and pedestrians. Now, I know that there was a court proceeding today yesterday on one of these tragic accidents. So this 3-month pilot will vet the technology to make sure it's accurate It's resilient that it works and it integrates with existing traffic operations software. The goal is to install technology along 6 corridors in Jefferson and Fayette counties by the summer of 2025. This project is about a $9.5 million project, and it is made possible thanks to a combination of state funds and a $5 million federal grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is really good news. We have lost some Kentuckians to these types of incidents, and this is us trying to use technology and to be innovative to better protect our families when they are transporting their most precious cargo, our kids and our citizens. I want to now talk about the Affordable Connectivity Program, a program that will close, costing Kentuckians millions of dollars and making it more difficult to afford internet if Congress doesn't get its act together and re-up this popular program. Access to high-speed internet is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity for school, work, health care, and more. We've secured more than $2 billion that'll be coming over the coming years to hook up every home and every business to high-speed internet access. Along the way, the Affordable Connectivity Program has made a big difference. Now, we've got the dollars to create access, but it's got to be affordable too. And that's where the ACP comes in. It was enacted as part of the federal bipartisan infrastructure law, and it saves our families $30 to $75 every month. It also provides a one-time discount of up to $100 to purchase a laptop, desktop, or tablet computer so you can use that affordable internet. It's the largest effort in our nation's history to make the internet more affordable. As of now, 1 in 6 Kentucky households rely on this program. That's 23 million American families. It includes 1 in 4 Kentucky households. More than 450,000 families in our Commonwealth of Kentucky rely on the Affordable Connectivity Program. These folks are from every region of the Commonwealth, but this program has been especially helpful in Appalachia, where 37% of households have benefited from this program. Without action from Congress, this program will close out this spring. Yesterday, the federal government stopped taking new applications. If nothing is done, Kentuckians will lose $13 million in savings every month. That's $13 million every month that helps our families, many of which are living on the margins, to afford the internet access that allows them to start their own business, to further their education. So many important tools like healthcare that are provided oftentimes through the internet. That's why I wrote a letter to all of Kentucky's representatives in Congress, urging them to pass legislation to continue this program. If they don't, 1 in 4 Kentucky families are going to have bigger bills and may get left further behind in the digital divide. For Kentucky to be competitive, to be the economy we want it to be, to stay number 2 in per capita economic development, we need the Affordable Connectivity Program. And if you're a congressman or elected official that's talked about inflation or the tough time paying bills at the end of the month, if you do not re-up the ACP, you'll have increased our families' bills significantly. Please take action on a good program that's helping Kentucky families. Yesterday, I got to attend the Recovery Advocacy Day hosted here at the Capitol. I met with and spoke to advocates and those working to get people out of addiction and into recovery from all over Kentucky. People who have done amazing work for years, and we are now seeing progress thanks to their relentless efforts. It's because of heroes doing the vital work every day in our Commonwealth, providing a helping hand to their neighbors, giving people second chances, that we've come as far as we've come. According to addiction treatment specialists at the Freedom Center in Maryland, Kentucky recently ranked as the 7th best state in the country for drug rehabilitation. That is something to be really proud of. In addition, we've recently been ranked number 1 per capita in treatment beds in the country. We made a lot of progress. We worked hard to boost the number of treatment beds, 50% since I became governor, and that and so much more has led us in 2022, the last year we have the full data, to being one of only 8 states in the entire country that saw a significant decrease in overdose deaths. We've established the Recovery Ready Communities program, a real step forward that says a county or a community wants to go through the rigor of ensuring that it has all of the help that it needs, all of the programs, all of the supports to get people into recovery and to keep them there, to get them back with their families, to provide that second chance employment, to truly be able to move people forward. I'm proud to say at yesterday's event, the Lieutenant Governor and I recognized 3 new recovery ready communities: Hardin, McCracken, and Scott counties. These counties were selected for certification because of their unique approaches to addiction treatment with a focus on treating addiction among our youth and increasing outreach through mobile crisis units, law enforcement, food banks, shelters, and more. Thank you to Hardin, McCracken, and Scott counties for leading with love and compassion instead of judgment and division. Today, we have even more good news in our fight against addiction. I'm proud to announce that my administration is receiving nearly $6 million in grant funding that's going to be provided to 17 nonprofit organizations to expand addiction treatment for pregnant and parenting women. So today we're announcing nearly $6 million in grant funding to 17 nonprofit organizations that provide addiction treatment to pregnant and parenting women. One of these nonprofits receiving funding is Cumberland River Comprehensive Care Center in Harlan, which has been awarded about $290,000. We have a lot of work to do. We have some incredible people out there doing that work each and every day. Let's continue to support them. They're saving the lives of our friends and our family members. Our Commonwealth is at the forefront of the electric vehicle evolution. From building the biggest electric vehicle battery plant in the world to developing a nearly $70 million EV charging network and so much more. And we are bringing the EV revolution to our schools through the new federal Clean School Bus Program. In less than 2 years, Kentucky's been awarded nearly $34 million to purchase 85 new clean school buses. And today we have even more good news. We recently learned that the deadline for applications for round 2 of this program have been extended to February 14th. That means Kentucky school districts have 6 more days to apply and take advantage of this funding opportunity. The EPA anticipates awarding at least $500 million in this round. So we want as many of our school districts to get these grant applications in and to be able to purchase these clean school buses. I urge our districts to apply. For more information, visit the link to the EPA on your screen. Not only does this funding expand our role in the EV revolution, it also helps ensure that our kids are safer. As a dad, that's something I want, and as governor, helping to make it happen. And finally, our Team Kentucky All-Stars. We've got 2 this week. The first are our school counselors, because this week is National School Counseling Week. So we're naming our dedicated school counselors from all around the Commonwealth as Team Kentucky All-Stars. Every day, our school counselors help students find success both in and out of the classroom, from helping our kids find their path in school to providing mental health support to preparing them for their future. They do amazing work. As governor, I want to make sure that we are supporting you as we should. That's why my 11% proposed raise would lift up these individuals along with every single public school employee and make sure that they can ultimately raise their family working this one job, and that by choosing a career as a school counselor, I never think they have to get a second or a third job just to support their families. They can spend all their time supporting our kids. But our other Team Kentucky All-Stars have to be Angela, everybody at Zero V, and everyone who works at any of these domestic violence shelters. And you know what? You are a Team Kentucky All-Star if you volunteered to show up at any of these places this Saturday to help with Shop and Share. It's been incredible to see the generosity over the years from the very beginning to today, but let's try to make this year the biggest and the best one ever. None of this goes to waste. It literally goes to these shelters where people come often in the dead of night without anything else. And everything that you purchase and provide to them is going to ease that transition. It's going to help people who are worried about what tomorrow is going to look like and the next day, their safety, how they rebuild their lives, to not have to worry about diapers, right? Let's take care of that for these individuals that are brave enough in probably a really difficult situation that many of us have never had to face. Let's make sure we're taking care of basic needs. So that's the last thing that that individual at that moment has to worry about. So thank you to everybody at Zero V and that is participating in Shop and Share. With that, we will open it up to questions. 3 journalists here with us, 2 with us virtually. We'll start with Tom Latek.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon to you. I'd like to get your thoughts on General Assembly legislation. Start off with House Bill 4, which would allow a constitutional amendment that would allow them to call themselves into session and take off all final sine die days and all that.
In 2022, the people of Kentucky rejected a constitutional amendment where the General Assembly tried to turn itself into a full-time body and pay itself accordingly. The people of the Commonwealth of Kentucky said, no, we want to keep these limited sessions where you're here for a limited period of time, and they trust the governor and the separation of powers to call any special session. The General Assembly this time seems to think that they should put the very same constitutional amendment in front of voters again. They shouldn't. They should respect the will of the people. They have already showed up. They have already voted, and they will reject it again. Another piece?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Education bills. We have one that's going to take away teachers being able to turn their unused sick days into pension benefits. But at the same token, they're also have a bill percolating that will forgive student loan debt.
Well, I support student loan forgiveness programs for our teachers. We need more incentives. We ask them to get a superior education to be the best educators, then we don't pay them enough. So as one part of a compensation or incentive package, I'm absolutely for student loan forgiveness. I oppose this new step to try to lessen pension benefits of our teachers. Now, we have had this pension system for a long time. If our teachers take all of their sick days, then we need even more subs. And right now, we don't have any. So again, our teachers are 40th in average pay in the country, 40th. And they're trying to chip away even more at it. It's wrong, and it's not going to encourage people to be in the profession to continue to attack them. Sarah.
Good afternoon. The House budget included up to $1.5 million for a JCPS audit 10 years ago. Out of Evelyn did a similar audit and found a very top-heavy administration at the cost of instruction. My question is, do you think this audit is necessary, and what do you expect?
I think an audit can be constructive, but only if it's run under auditing practices and that it is fair and receives information and feedback from the subject of the audit and is not a political tool. You know, we recently had an audit with DJJ, the first audit I've ever seen where it was never provided to the organization to provide a response. And it turns out at least 2 of the findings were entirely and fully wrong. And had they asked for the response, they could have been handed the documents that it was shown it. You know, one finding in that audit was so wrong that if they Googled it, they could see it. You know, claiming we didn't have a use of force policy. I signed that as an emergency regulation last January, over a year ago. So listen, audits can be constructive. I thought the audit of the 2 funds, natural disaster funds, was a fair audit where I didn't agree with all of the findings, but that information came back and forth and ended up being a constructive process where we were just trying to get to, number 1, the truth, and number 2, how to do some things better. And I will always take constructive advice or criticism on how to do things better. It's what I get when I get home every day. So if done right and if done under the standard practices, then I think it could be helpful. Alyssa.
Hi, I'm diving back into the Wrong Way crash project.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know what kind of went into the selection for the corridors that are going to be featured in that?
Do I know which parts of, let us get you that information. I don't have it in front of me, but if we can have those lights that are blinking, both to try to deter the person getting on the wrong way, but also, and they're going to try this technology, what will warn people coming the other way, that danger is imminent. Our hope is both we can prevent it, but then we can also create a better reaction to it if it's going to happen. But I know it's a problem. I think it was in Fayette County. Just yesterday, there was a conviction or a sentencing related to it. We don't want to lose anybody. And if this technology can help, we're going to find out and then we're going to implement it. Karen Czar on the line.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you. I have two, please. The first is in Western Kentucky, we're finding that a lot of families are still being impacted clearly from the tornadoes 2 years ago because of rent prices. So I'm not talking about the families who are rebuilding, but a lot of people, even those who didn't lose a home, are finding they're being pushed out of being able to afford rent. Are you hearing these same stories? And is there anything that you're considering doing to help? And the second is this Sunday will be the first Super Bowl that Kentuckians can wager. What do you think that will be the economic impact? And are you going to be placing a bet?
uh, so first, replacing rental properties is a major challenge after these natural disasters. There is no question that it is a big hole in the type of programs that come and aid in that response. For instance, FEMA doesn't do any type of reimbursement or doesn't do any type of investment like they do for owned homes for rental units. And that's something we're working to figure out as a state. One of the things we've tried to do is to add to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And then we have a program that the legislature helped to put in that's supposed to direct dollars for affordable housing, which would include rentals in some of these areas. So listen, it's a major challenge. That is my biggest worry when it comes to the communities we're building and or rebuilding. It's one that we're very focused on, but it's one that there is not a clear or a good answer for yet. We're still trying to innovate in this instance on our own and or get new types of federal help for. And it is the first Super Bowl that people are going to be able to bet on here in Kentucky. Believe it or not, since those first days and first bets, I haven't placed one. So we'll be looking at that. I don't know what I'd bet on if it was the coin flip, the number of times they'd show Taylor Swift, or the game itself. If it's first touchdown, my guess there is Christian McCaffrey, which I'm not going to bet on because a lot of other people could score, and I don't know who will win that coin toss. And I guess I am some part of the regulator, so I hope that doesn't shift the odds, which Tom just said. Tom, that's a lot of confidence in me if you think anything that I would bet on would shift the odds. Though we were one win away from winning the very first sports bet in Kentucky's history. Remember, we went over on the wins in football for UK and Louisville. They both went under, and I went under on Dukes, even though they were, I think, 4-0 when I placed the bet, and it was just one loss away from that perfect bet coming true. And finally, John Chiefs from the Lexington Herald Leader.
Governor, thank you. I'd wanted to ask you about the use of isolation and pepper spray in the juvenile detention centers. In recent months, we've seen a number of lawsuits and reports, including one from the state's Department of Public Advocacy, that have raised concerns about the inappropriate use of isolation, not just for immediate safety concerns, and pepper spray, also not just for immediate safety concerns. There might be a time and a place for both of those practices, but what can we do to reduce the frequency of times that kids are left in their room for too long and the times that they're sprayed with OC outside of the original intent that you had when you signed the policy memo? Thank you.
Well, we always want to do better, and we always want to learn from every incident or any report that we are provided. I believe that equipping our officers with pepper spray was absolutely necessary, and just from a back of the envelope math, Larry Chandler thinks we've seen about a 40% decline in violent incidents since its introduction. In fact, there was a recent incident where a one of our employees was hit that had not deployed, but had their pepper spray ready, it may not have happened. Most often when it's used to break up fights. And I don't know how the evaluation on the proper or not is done, but what I know is in every instance that it's used, there ought to be a post evaluation. And certainly one thing that we've got to do better in the Department of Juvenile Justice is better documentation. Better documentation of different incidents, better documentation of things that happen. We need to have a more accurate, clearer picture to be able to learn from. And certainly that documentation is key. It's also key if isolation is used to make sure that all of the facts that came into that decision are documented so that they can be fully evaluated. In some of these instances, we don't see that full documentation, which makes it more difficult. Now, I will say that isolation is used or has been used by some who've evaluated the system in a different way. It doesn't include just being in your room. There is a method whereby an individual has to be separated from the rest of the population, but they could be out in the facility, in the common room, walking around outside, but that has to be used sometime based on the number of violent instances, or we continue to have serious gang issues that sometimes for people's personal safety require them to be separated. But listen, we've got a lot of improvement we need to continue to make. I believe a lot of the steps that we have done have helped us from a security standpoint, but still much more to be done. And certainly in this budget, we need to get restored from my proposal the money to upgrade the Breathitt, Fayette, and McCracken County facilities, as well as ensure that we get full staffing. Now, I will tell you that the audit suggested a staffing level bigger than even we proposed and that 2017 proposed. And that'll take some more money in it, but certainly we get those numbers of individuals. Staffing is the number one way that we need to continue to grow that will improve the level of safety in the facilities. But I will tell you the raises, which were really necessary, are working. It took a little longer in Northern Kentucky than in others, and we're getting more people and we're getting more qualified applicants. But more work still needs to be done. And this is a system that's seeing more violent offenders that have been through more trauma than we've ever seen in the system. And so that takes facilities that are more secure than they've ever been. And it also creates more challenges that we have to adapt to. And certainly our interim DJJ Commissioner Larry Chandler from the physical security side brings more knowledge than we have ever had in DJJ to try to create a safe environment. And remember, in what he ran for so many years, which were prisons, we also provide a lot of services. So we're going to lean on that knowledge, look forward to finding the right types of new leadership, and try to do better each and every day. All right. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next week.